dear friends, as we know, theory of relevancy of facts under the Indian Evidence Act strictly lays down the principle that the evidence may be permitted by the court with respect to either logically relevant facts or legally relevant facts. As we know, the chapter on relevancy of facts prescribes laydowns what facts are legally relevant. Section 8 of the Indian Evidence Act is one of such relevant fact which is legally relevant. According to it, its title reads as motive, preparation and previous or subsequent conduct is relevant. In detail discussion, we can understand that Section 8 speaks about any such a fact which is relevant, when it will be relevant, if it shows or constitutes a motive or a preparation for any fact in issue or relevant fact. So it has to be any fact. Any fact becomes relevant provided it constitutes or shows a motive or preparation for any fact in issue or relevant fact. Secondly, a conduct of any party. Such conducts that influences or is influenced by any relevant fact or fact in issue becomes relevant. We'll see this section in a pictographic way or with the help of animation. Section 8, as we have seen, states that if the fact either that shows or constitute motive of the fact in issue or relevant fact, preparation of fact in issue, or the conduct with respect to the fact in issue, that may be either a previous conduct or the subsequent conduct, that becomes relevant. So we'll see one by one how this concept could be understood. Friends, firstly you will see the fact of motive for the relevant facts or fact in issue. Motive is a such thing that moves or influences the mind. It also signifies for a particular kind of a conduct. So with the moves or the thing that moves or influences the mind is known as motive. We have to understand the motive could be understood with the help of circumstantial evidence that the conduct of a person and the event excited the emotion of such person. In case of state of MP versus Dhirendra Kumar, the landlord lady Munni Bai was killed by, it was accused who killed Munni Bai, who was living on rent in her house. What was the background? When he was living on rent in the house of landlady Munni Bai, he had an evil eye upon Munni Bai. Out of that, she conveyed that kind of his conduct, behavior to her husband and the in-laws, and accordingly the Dhirendra Kumar, who was living on the rent, was kicked out from the house. Later on, she was murdered. So we can understand with the help of this case that he might have, accused might have, rather he might have felt that he was being insulted by way of kicking out from the home or the rented house, and he got developed the vengeance in his own mind, and that motivated him to kill the victim, that is Munni Bai. So that is the fact which is constituting the fact that he had an evil eye upon the lady. Then he was kicked out for his conduct from the house, and that angered him. The kind of vengeance he wanted to take against that lady, and ultimately that resulted into the death of that lady by way of murder. So this is what the fact of motive. Therefore, the motive, the fact of motive, all the facts that constitute motive are relevant in this according to section 8. We can also understand the same thing with the help of another example. X person committed a crime of a murder and somebody saw it. Y saw it, and Y was blackmailing him for that kind of the conduct that was done by the act that was done by X. And the motive, in order to get out of that kind of a blackmailing, the person, accused person, once again killed that person who was blackmailing him. So all these things, they convey that all these facts constitute a motive, and therefore they become relevant under section 8. Now it's turn to discuss the fact that constitute preparation. Preparation means arranging or devising means and measures. It is a plan to do certain things as per the plan. So that together could be understood as a preparation. For example, for the proposed commission of burglary, the burglar is carrying a kind of a torch, rod or knife with him. So that ultimately is a kind of a preparation for commission of that crime. At the same time, we can look into the fact which constitute preparation, how they are relevant under section 8. A is tried for the murder of B. That means fact in issue is the death of B. What was the relevant fact? Before the death, an accused procured the poison so that he could kill B. So procurement of a poison is a kind of a preparation for that ultimately the fact in issue, and therefore that fact of procuring the poison becomes relevant under section 8. Now see the concept of intention. Intention and motive, they have to be understood properly. Intention is a foreknowledge of an act with desire of it. If somebody is committing a kind of act, he knows the consequences of it, the nature of that act, what it will result into. So if the person has a foreknowledge of such kind of act, that means it is an intention. We'll take an example. There is a hungry boy who steals bread or a kind of vada pav. So his intention is to steal. That constitutes an essential of a crime. But what motivated him to steal that kind of vada pav is to feed his hunger. So motive is something different than that of an intention. So motive motivates the mind, influences the mind to commit certain act. And when that is what the motive is, and when the person knows the consequence of his act, that amounts to intention. And so this is nothing but intention is nothing but a psychological kind of a fact, because it is representing state of mind. Friends, now we have to switch over to the fact, that is the conduct of any party to the suit or proceeding. That may be the previous conduct before the fact in issue has happened, or subsequent to that of fact in issue. Conduct could be understood as an effect or expression of that emotion or motive. So motive is expressed by way of a certain kind of a conduct. So the previous as well as the subsequent conduct therefore becomes relevant. We'll take one example. In case of Prakash Chand versus State of Delhi, a person demanded a kind of bribe. Accordingly, the trap was laid down by the police. As soon as the accused person, accepted the bribe, the police nabbed him and they asked whether you have accepted the bribe. And the person couldn't reply anything and he got shunned and did not reply. He just sat down. So, as soon as he was caught red-handed, the conduct of him after the fact in issue of taking the bribe, that becomes relevant under section 8. Friends, we'll take another example. A person needs certain money to operate his mother or any relative, and he is helpless. He does not have any kind of money with him and he needs to provide the money for the operation. So he steals the jewelries, or we can say the money, from the bank and runs away. So with the help of this case, we can understand that the operation, the amount was needed to get the relative operated. That is what the motive. Therefore, what was his intention? To steal the money or the jewels. That is what his intention. And once he stole the kind of ornaments or the money, he ran away. The subsequent conduct, that is, he ran away, that becomes relevant under section 8 of the Indian Evidence Act. I hope